New York Giants over under 6.5 here. See
Oh,
this. So this has been like my trend has been, well, the bad teams I'm just going under and the good teams I'm going over because I can't think, can't see the future here, Sam. I can't think beyond it. So I'm leaning that the Giants haven't done enough here.
yeah. But the Giants are that classic example, though, where you look at last year's win total versus the over under that Vegas sets. You're like, how could they possibly go under? I mean, they won 6 games last season with cutlets right in, right in the driving the wagon for periods of the season. Like, how could it possibly be any worse than that? Um, Particularly when you then get to the upgrades that they've made, like drafting a guy like Malik Neighbors could be legitimately transformative for them.
Agree.
Finally give them the high-end #1 wide receiver that they haven't really had basically since OBJ, the last LSU superstar wide receiver that they drafted. So you look at that and you think, and again, if they've made significant changes, like if they've addressed their weaknesses in a real way, #1 wide receiver, at least making an effort to creep back toward average on the offensive line with, signings like Illuminor, and John Runyon at guard. Like, you look at this group and you say, okay, those things are important, but also those are also addressing things that were really working at dragging down Daniel Jones, who, a year ago they thought was good enough to sign him to an ill-advised contract, right? And this isn't hindsight. It was ill-advised at the time. Like, we were screaming, Daniel Jones should be given the franchise tag based off the season that he just had and the body of evidence that we previously have on Daniel Jones. This is screaming out for the franchise tag. This is why the franchise tag is there, is so you can hedge on a decision like this. Instead, they were like, no, he's worth it. We'll give him the contract. That'll free up the franchise tag to go use elsewhere. So they thought, based off 2022, he was good enough for that deal. And he had the kind of season that he had last season, in large part because the offensive line was garbage, because he had no wide receivers to throw to. And then he was like a force multiplier for negativity and made all those things look worse. But my point in all that is, if you fix those things, I think you go a long way towards getting a vastly improved version of Daniel Jones. Whether or not that version is still good enough to be the answer long term, completely different question, right? But it's better. It's good enough to get you more than 6 wins.
Yeah, I get it. And look, I have concerns about the defensive side of the ball, though. I'm with you. Malik Neighbors could be an absolute game changer. Sounds like he is dominating already at minicamp. And
I've seen 100 catches. What more do you need?
I mean, some of that buzz is legit and carries over, right? And if anybody's going to do that, it's the guy that goes 6th overall that some people said is better than Marvin Harrison Jr. I could buy into that. So my struggle is the defense, even with a new system. I just don't know if they have enough on the back end. And not a massive Brian Burns fan. I'm sure he'll be fine rushing the passer, but him and Kayvon Thibodeau, a lot of potential there. Love Dexter Lawrence. I just don't know if they have enough. I'm going to go under here for the Giants.
I'm going over. By the way, you, Mr. Optimism, Mr. Positivity, is somebody needs to create like a montage of you just ripping Brian Burns all off season. It's your one hobby horse for negativity.
Listen, it's the offseason. Takes don't change.
Yeah.
I don't like Brian Burns for $28 million, and nothing's going to happen between now and September to change that.
I'm just saying,
September, maybe you can change it.
There's probably like a 2-minute video to be had of you just saying, I'm not a big Brian Burns fan.
We can make 5-minute videos of things you've repeated all offseason, so that's fine.
But
that's
people
what we
expect
do.
the negativity from me. It's just it shines as a lone beacon of your negativity.